Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be reading the chapter 9 of Emperor's Ring. Panda, would you like a panda? May I have your name, Babu? Where are you from? This way, Babu. Which dharamshala are you booked at? You will go to the temple of Baba Dakshishwar, won't you? I had no idea the group of pandas waiting on the platform would surround us like this, even though Feluda had warned me of the possibility. These pandas apparently kept huge ledgers that held records of one's ancestors, those who had visited Haridwar, that is, going back several hundred years. My great great grandfather was supposed to have left home to become a sannyasi. He had spent a long time in Haridwar. Perhaps one of those ledgers contained his name and address, or maybe even his handwriting. Who could tell? There is no need of panda, said Bono Bihari Babu. That would only add to the confusion. Let's go to Sheetal Das Dharamshala. I know the place. We could be together, and the food's not too bad. It's just a matter of one night anyway. Tomorrow, we leave for Rishikesh and Lakshmanjula. A coolie picked up our luggage. We came out of the station and hired 3 Tongas. Feluda and I got into one. Baba and Dr. Srivastava got into another. And Bono Bihari Babu took the third. It was still dark. A holy place, said Feluda, is always dirty, but once you are by the river, it feels quite pleasant. Our Tonga rattled along the lanes of Haridwar. Not a single shop was open yet. There were men sleeping on the string beds by the roadside, wrapped in blankets. Kerosene lamps flickered here and there. A few old men went past, metal pots in hand. They were going to the river, Feluda explained. They would stand immersed in waist deep water and wait for sunrise, chanting hymns to welcome a new day. The rest of the town was still asleep. Bono Bihari Babu's Tonga was leading us. It stopped in front of a white, single storied house with large pillars. This clearly was Sheetal Das Dharamshala. There was a courtyard as we went through the gate. Corridors ran around its sides, and the rooms stood in neat rows. A man from the Dharmashala came out and took our luggage in. We were about to follow him through a door when another Tonga came and stopped at the front of the gate. The sadhu who had traveled with us up to Bareilly climbed down from it. I tugged at Feluda's sleeve. Look, it's the same man, the one in the train. Feluda gave the man a sidelong glance and said, Do you mean to say even this man is a suspect? Well, this is the second time. Shh, not a word. Let's go in. Baba, Feluda, and I were given one room. There were 4 beds in it. The occupant of the 4th bed was fast asleep. Bono Bihari Babu and Dr. Srivastava were given the room next to ours. The sadhu joined them. By the time all of us had had a wash and tea had been ordered, it was fairly bright. A number of people were now awake, and the whole place had become quite noisy. I now realized what a wide variety of people were staying at the Dharmshala. There were Bengalis, Marwaris, people from Uttar Pradesh, Gujaratis, Maharashtrians, all contributing equally to the general cacophony. Are you thinking of going out? Asked Baba. Yes, I'd like to go to the river, said Feluda. All right, I'm going with Bono Bihari Babu to arrange 2 taxis for tomorrow. And if you're going anywhere near a market, get an everyday torch. After all, this place is not a place like Lucknow. A torch may come in handy. We left. Feluda said the place was too small for a Tonga ride. It was better to walk. I soon began to feel the difference in temperature. Haridwar was definitely cooler than Lucknow, and possibly because it was so close to a river covered by a misty haze. It's more smoke than mist, Feluda said. The smoke comes from Angitis. We stopped to ask our way a little later. Half a mile from here, we were told. A different cacophony greeted us from a distance, even before we reached the river. It turned out to be a group of bathers. Besides, hawkers and beggars lined the path running to the river bank, and they were no less noisy. We pushed through the crowd and made our way to the steps that led to the edge of the water. The scene that met my eyes was one I have never witnessed since. It was as though a carnival was being held by the riverside. Bells pealed within temple that stood by the steps. A Vaishnav sat and singing a bhajan near the temple, surrounded by a group of old men and women. Cows, goats, dogs, and cats moved about freely in happy conjunction with the humans. Feluda found a relatively quiet spot on the steps and we sat down. If you wanted a glimpse of ancient India, he said, just watch the scene below. The whole thing was so different from Lucknow that I nearly forgot the stolen ring. Did Feluda feel the same way, or was his mind still working on the case? I looked at Feluda, but I didn't dare to ask him. He was taking out his cigarettes and a matchbox from his pocket with a contented air. This was clearly a good opportunity to have a smoke, since he couldn't when Baba was present. He put a cigarette between his lips and pushed open the matchbox. Something flashed brightly. Startled, I asked, "What was that, Feluda?" By then, he had shut the box again. "What was what?" he asked, apparently taken aback. "That object in your matchbox. I saw it flash." Feluda cupped his mouth with both hands to light his cigarette and inhaled. Then he blew the smoke out and said, "Matchsticks have phosphorus in them. Don't you know? That's what flashed in the sun." I couldn't ask any further, but that seemed an unlikely story. Matchsticks didn't glitter in the sun. We stayed by the river a little longer and then we went to see the temple of Dakshishwar. By the time we were out of the temple, buying a torch in a stationery shop, it was nearly 10:30. But no matter what we did or saw, I simply could not get the matchbox out of my mind. Somehow, I felt convinced what I had seen shining in the sun was the diamond in Aurangzeb's ring. If Feluda had said it was a coin, I might have believed, but his tale of phosphorus in matchsticks was a pure nonsense, and I knew it. But what if it was the ring? Did the burglars know Feluda had it with him? Was that why they were threatening him and trying to hurt him? Why? They had even tried to chloroform us. Feluda, however, appeared quite unconcerned. He was humming quietly. There is a raga called Ghat. He stopped at one point to explain. It has to be sung in the morning. What I'm humming is the same raga. I wanted to say, keep your ragas to yourself. I'm not interested. And in fact, I'm very cross with you. Why did you tell me a lie? But I couldn't utter those words, for we had reached the Dharamshala. I decided to tackle Feluda on the subject in the evening. Baba, Bono Bihari Babu, and Dr. Srivastava were sitting on the veranda, talking to another gentleman who was wearing a dhoti and kurta and appeared to be another Bengali. "We have arranged a couple of taxis," Baba said upon our arrival, "and We are leaving tomorrow morning at 6. Bono Bihari Babu knew those fellows, so we have been given a concession. The Bengali gentleman called Bilash Babu was from Allahabad. He turned out to be a palmist. Bono Bihari Babu offered his palm and asked, "Is there any chance of my being bitten to death by an animal?" Bilash Babu ran a claw on the lines of Bono Bihari Babu's hand and said, "Why, no, it looks like a natural death to me." My eyes fell on the palmist's feet. They were distinctly odd. The big toe on each foot was longer than the others by at least half an inch. I could have sworn I have seen these feet or feet like these quite recently. But where might that have been? I simply couldn't remember. Bono Bihari Babu gave a sigh of relief. "Thank goodness," he said. "Why do you say that? Are you a shikari? Do you go tiger hunting or what?" Bilash Babu seemed puzzled. "No, no," Bono Bihari Babu replied. "But it's just as well to make sure. A cousin of mine once got bitten by a mad dog. You know, purely out of the blue. The poor chap died of hydrophobia. So I thought, did you used to live in Calcutta?" Good heavens, is that written in my hand? Yes, so it would seem. And are you interested in collecting antiques? Antiques? Who? Me? Oh no, it was Pyare Lal who did that. I'm interested in animals. Are you? Is that why you were talking about getting bitten? But, but what? Bono Bihari Babu asked eagerly. Have you recently been under stress? How recently? Say in the last 30 days. Bono Bihari Babu laughed. No, sir. I have not a care in the world, and I haven't been worried. My only anxiety is about whether I shall find that python tomorrow in Lakshmanjula. Bilash Babu looked as though he would have liked to have peered at his palms a little longer, but Bono Bihari Babu withdrew them abruptly and yawned. The truth is, he said, I don't really believe in palmistry. Please don't mind my saying this, but I don't think what we make of ourselves has anything to do with the lines in our hands. The only thing I believe is in man's own strength and his ability to succeed. So saying, he rose and went into his room. My eyes went once more to Bilash Babu's feet. But no, I still couldn't recall where I had seen them. And that is the end of the chapter 9. Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. See you all in the next video.